Let's talk sales pages, because your sales page is either making you sales or sending people away. Buyers today are smart, they're discerning, and they're also distracted. And so if your sales page isn't clear and compelling, you're missing out on sales. So in this video, I'm going to break down the 10 things that every sales page should have so that you see more clients saying yes more often. So grab a notebook and let's dive in. First, what is a sales page? I like to think of it as a decision page. It's the final stop that people make before they dive into your offer and buy or apply or enroll. And that's exactly why a good sales page is so important. When your sales page is unclear, confusing, cluttered, or boring to read, people are going to click away. But when you have a sales page that really speaks to your dream client and powerfully communicates the value of your offer, you are going to see more sales flow through. So let's start by the first thing that should be on every sales page, which is a really powerful and clear headline. This headline should say the offer name, your offer audience, your offer result, and your offer mechanism. So what is the tool or skill that you are using to get them that result? I like to have this headline be super clear. It's not cute and clever. It should just really powerfully communicate what the offer is so that people know what they're reading about. And I think this is so important for making this a decision page. If we don't tell people right from the top what they're reading about and what they are deciding on, we are stealing time from ourselves to get them decided to buy that offer. Imagine if you got halfway down the page and only then you realize it's a course or it's one-on-one. You want to know right from the top what you are trying to read about. The next thing I would do is point to the problems and pain points that your dream clients are facing. What are they finding challenging? Where do they feel stuck? Where do they feel like they've plateaued? Where do they feel uncertain about what to do next? And when you're brainstorming what these points are, I want you to think about the ones that are the most urgent for your clients. Because a big role this section can play on your sales page is building urgency. People feel urgency around problems they want to solve. So don't just call out the problem, but also add that hint of urgency too. For example, you feel like you're getting lost in a sea of candidates on LinkedIn, and you're worried that every day that you don't stand out from a sea of candidates, you are missing out on dream job opportunities. This is where we are going to build that urgency, and our reader right from the top is going to be locked in and ready to read the rest of the page because they're like, yep, that's me. I feel seen, heard, and understood here. I feel like you understand my problem and I want to hear what your solution is. So this section is really critical. Let's move on to the third thing that your sales page should do. This is where I like to drop a bold angle around your offer. And this angle can take many different forms, but the goal of it is to have a bold statement about how you are going to solve this problem differently than they have seen or tried before. So in this sentence or section, you can say something like about your unique approach. You can call out an industry recommendation that you disagree with, or you can just make a bold statement about this topic in general. And the idea here is to say, okay, the headline, now they've seen the problem, and right away we are showing them that this is about to be unlike anything they've seen or tried before. Next, we're going to have a section about desires. So once they solve this problem, what do they hope becomes true? How do they want to feel? What do they want to be able to do? How do they want to see themselves? What result are they looking for? What do they hope is never a problem again? What do they hope is always true for them going forward? Think about some bold desires that you can share here about connecting to exactly what your dream clients desire most. Okay, so far on the page, we have basically emotionally connected to our dream client. We have told them what the offer is. We've told them, I understand your problems and challenges. I've got a new way of doing things with your angle, and I know how to get you to these desires. So far, this has all been very more emotional things. And now we're going to get into the meat and potatoes, or if you're vegetarian, the carrots and potatoes of the sales page. And this is where we are going to talk about more like facts, but we're still going to be selling them on the facts. A big mistake I see people make from here out on the page is just sharing logistical information, but you still need to be selling people on why this is a good decision. So the fourth section is going to be introducing your offer. This is where you restate, kind of like what you did with your headline, what the offer is, how it works, kind of an overview statement. And from there, you are going to detail and outline every feature, every deliverable, every inclusion of your offer. If you have a course, then you need to break down module 1, module 2, module 3. If you have a program, you need to talk about your curriculum and your calls and your Slack channel, etc. It needs to be a complete breakdown of everything that you include in your offer. And this is where design is really important, because this can be really blocky and clunky if you don't have good design. So I recommend having like nested menus, like where you click it and it expands. That way that it's not just like blocks of text. People can dive in and be able to see, oh, I'm curious to learn more about module 3 or module 5 or week 1 with you or week 7 with you, etc. And the key here is to be really intentional. We're not just dumping information about the titles of all of our lessons and all of what's going on week by week. What you want to do here is make each part of your offer sound valuable and almost like it's worth the investment on its own. Like, oh, you teach XYZ in week 5. Why is that so valuable? So we want to do it in a way that each piece sounds like it's worth the investment on its own, and each piece clearly contributes to that end result that we are selling. No piece should feel like it's added in or thrown in unintentionally just to like beef up the value, because we've all seen sales pages like that, right? And sometimes genuinely it actually is really helpful, but it's not written and positioned that way, and that's why it doesn't feel that way. So again, when you're breaking down your offer, the two things to make sure is that each piece sounds valuable on its own, like, oh my God, I would buy it just to get my hands on module 3. And each piece clearly connects and contributes to the end result. Number 5 is pricing. The key here is to have pricing on your page. It drives me literally nuts when people are like, oh, I don't want to put the pricing on my page. Why not? People know it costs money. And all you're going to accomplish by not putting your pricing on your sales page is people getting on a sales call with you and not buying your offer because they didn't realize that it was too expensive for their budget. All it does is put people in an awkward position. It's better to have the pricing up front. That makes things better for your clients because they know, okay, when I reach out, I know exactly what this offer costs. And for you, because you're not going to be getting on calls with people who actually can't afford working with you. That's my rant about that. Your pricing should be very clear, very simple. I recommend no more than 2 ways to get started. Usually that's like a pay in full option or a payment plan, or annual versus monthly, right? But only 2 options. When you get into 3 and more territory, that's where even a compelling sales page can fall apart because people get pricing indecision. So I'd rather you keep it simple, two options to pay and having the pricing upfront. Number 6 is testimonials. And a big mistake I see people make with testimonials is just having statements like, oh, working with Sam was great, or I loved working with Sam, instead of having tangible result-driven testimonials. So whatever your promise or your result is that you mentioned in your headline, you want to have testimonials that reflect that result as closely as possible, because that's how it serves as proof that this offer works and it does what it says it does. And it's okay if not every testimonial can do that. But overall, you want to have a testimonial that's related to the result or the outcome. It could be an emotional win, a tangible win. The point is that we don't want the spotlight on you and how great you are. We want the spotlight to be on how amazing the offer is and how it can help them, because that's what's going to move them to buy. A question sometimes clients ask me is, what if this is a new offer and I don't have testimonials for this offer yet? What I like to do is you can take testimonials from other offers in your business, just don't say that they're from this offer. You can make your headline more generic, like client wins or like past client wins from your brand name. And so that way you're being clear, like these are past client wins in general. And when you do get testimonials for this new offer, you can swap the new ones in. Now, let's say you have a lot of testimonials, then I would be playful with the placement. For example, you could have one testimonial right underneath the headline of your offer at the top of the page. You could have a few by the pricing, or you could have a few more at the bottom of the page. And I recommend these 3 places because at the top, it gives that boost of social proof. By the pricing, that feeling can come in of like, ooh, like I didn't realize it was going to be that price, but look at all these people who benefited from it, right? So it's nice to have it near the pricing and at the bottom of the page for that extra nudge of confidence of this is totally going to work for you. Come on in. Okay, number 7. This one is a little bit different. You're going to have to get a little creative here, but it's something that I love to see on sales pages, and I think it contributes a lot to differentiating your offer. Have a unique to you section. This could be something that showcases what makes your offer different, special, and just take a second to think about how you could powerfully communicate the value of your offer. And what's a unique or creative section you could add to showcase that. If you're a web designer, you might have before and after examples on your page of brands before and after working with you. The idea here is just to get creative and think about what is the core value that you are trying to show makes your offer totally worth it, and how can you have a fresh, different section that really showcases that. And if you want to brainstorm ideas, drop it in the comments. I'd love to chat. Okay, the next thing you should have on your page is an About Me section. And you don't want this to just be a boilerplate, what's on your normal About Me on your website. This should be specific to the offer that you are selling. People want to know, why did you create this offer? What were your clients struggling with that inspired you to create this type of service or package or program? And basically give people a reason to get excited about this particular way of working with you. This is also where you can boost some credibility and talk about your expertise, how many years you've been doing this, the type of results your clients get, why you care about this audience, and why you want to see them win. This is like a nice personal touch point between you and the reader while they're on the page. The next one is a "this is for you, this is not for you" section. This is where you should very boldly and unapologetically qualify and disqualify the right people for your offer. And saying things like, "You're ready to put in the work" is not qualifying the right people. You want to think about logistically, what do they need to come ready with? And emotionally, what values or attitudes do you want your clients to have? And get that on there. And for more details on this, I've got a whole video, wherever I point to, about qualifying and disqualifying the right people for your offer. So definitely give that a watch. Next, you want to have 5 FAQs about your offer. And a big mistake I see people make here is putting things in the FAQ that should be on the sales page. For example, summarizing the offer. Don't bother doing that in your FAQ. That's what the sales page is for. Another mistake is having FAQ that speaks to non-ideal clients. Don't answer FAQ or objections for people who you don't feel like are a fit for your offer. And for your FAQ, I want you to think about some emotional FAQ they might have and tangible FAQ. Let's say you help people show up on video. An emotional objection might be, "I'm really camera shy." And a tangible objection might be, "I don't have fancy equipment," right? So you want to make sure that you're touching on both types of FAQ for your ideal client. This is also a good place to answer more, not legal, but fine printy stuff about your offer. Like, is it lifetime access? Or like, how long do I get support? How much access do I get to you, etc. But I try to keep FAQs to no more than 5 questions. Otherwise, that information should be communicated elsewhere on the page. And finally, doing a final urgency section. So we have come to the end of the sales page, and we don't want to just leave the last section being like FAQ. Ultimately, this final section is here to give them that little nudge of urgency to take action and say yes. And what I like to do here is a little bit of what I call push and pull. So push is the pain points, it's the negative motivation, right? You're ready to stop doing X. You're ready to finally, achieve Y. So that's the push. And it could even be a little bit deeper. Every day you don't figure this out is another day XYZ, right? So like speaking to that bigger picture urgency. And then we give them an out, which is into our offer. So that's the pull. The pull is, when you get started today, here's what happens. You're going to get instant access to this. You're going to be able to join our call next week and finally get clarity on XYZ. You are going to jump in, get started, and achieve this type of win ASAP, right? So we're kind of like showing them like, this is the crossroads moment. You can keep doing it the way you've been doing it and keep feeling frustrated, stuck, confused, annoyed, or you can go this way and start seeing progress right away and have everything you need to get the big shiny result at the end. And I love doing it this way because it feels fair, right? We're not spooking them with just pain points, get in, or you're never going to succeed. Absolutely not. We're just like calling out like, hey, like you can stay on the path you're on, which kind of sucks and isn't great and can be annoying, or you can do it this way or try this out and instantly feel better than you do right now and really paint that powerful picture of what's possible when they get started and say yes. So I think that was actually 11 things, but that is what should be on every sales page. And while I'm here, let me give you some rapid fire, in no particular order, other opinions about sales pages. The first is that you should have at least 3 call to actions throughout the page. So don't just have one button at the top. We just want to make it easy for people. And so we don't want to have them searching for, where's the last button I saw? So I like to have them in 3 key places. Number 1, at the very top of the page. Number 2, where it's at pricing. And number 3, at the end. And depending on how long your page is, you might sprinkle them more throughout, but typically those are the 3 minimum places I recommend. Length. A lot of people say they hate long sales pages, blah, blah, blah. And I have... So basically, the length of your sales page really depends on a few factors. 1, how much is your offer? Is it $97? Then it probably doesn't need a 5,000 word sales page. Another thing is how hot or cold your audience is. An ice cold audience isn't going to buy from a sales page that's 100 words long, right? So the colder your audience is, the longer your sales page should probably be. Because the longer our sales page is, the more time we have to connect with them, to communicate our value, and to get them on board and saying yes. Long story short is, do you want 5 seconds to change somebody's mind or 5 minutes? Right? So the longer your sales page is, the more time you are giving yourself to get someone fired up and excited to buy. And of course, the warmer your audience is, the more you can kind of skimp around with the details. And a warm audience is why so many people are like, oh, you don't need, a long sales page. It's usually because they have a really warm audience to sell to. But for example, if you are running Facebook ads to a cold audience and you're sending them to a really short sales page, chances are they just aren't having enough desire and trust and certainty about you to be able to buy. Another thing is that being mobile friendly is essential. So many people are reading these sales pages from their phone, which only makes the page appear longer because it's squished. And so you want to make sure it's mobile friendly. All of your images are quick to load. Your sales page is quick to load. There's nothing funky going on that isn't displaying correctly, and so on. All right, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you have questions about your sales page, I would love to hear about it in the comments below. And in case you breezed past it, I really recommend watching this video about the sales flow audit, because your sales page is just one piece of your sales flow that needs to be rock solid so that more people can come into your world and say yes. And if you want more ideas on how to boldly communicate and sell the value of your offer, make sure you grab my free guide below, which gives you 15 questions to audit yourself against on, is my messaging bold, clear, and compelling? Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!